Hey, sports fans, Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live show / podcast / hangout with Jared Weiss. And we also have special guest Dave DuFour joining us, rejoining the program. He's no stranger to a three-man pod in the Periscope / wherever we are, YouTube. Thank you
Dave
guys.
loves a three-way.
I love a three-way.
Absolutely.
Love a good three-way.
So that's Dave's voice if you're listening, and that's you can see Jared in the middle. I let him have the middle seat this time, which is usually always cramped. So how are you, Dave?
I'm actually an aisle seat kind of guy. So this
Ooh, aisle seat is where it's at. Because listen, when you're on a plane, you're going to drink too much water because you want to be hydrated. You don't want to feel like crap when you land. You're going to get up and pee like 6 times, at least if it's like a 3-hour flight.
But what about if you're sitting in the aisle and then you got someone else who wants to get up so many times? That's also frustrating, which is why I would probably advocate for the window.
I don't mind it. I want to stand up more often than not because I don't want my back to get all tight. I got to take care of this body,
Yeah, you don't want
fine-tuned machine. We got to make sure that it's staying mobile.
You don't want a
supple leopard.
Yes,
got to keep it moving.
If you're sitting too long, you're at a risk for a pulmonary embolism. So I hear you. Okay,
I gotta say, I miss Dave's confusing sexual energy off the top of the shows. It's been way
confusing. Nothing confusing about it, my friend. Nothing confusing at all.
Okay.
Overwhelming.
Well, let's talk a little bit about basketball, if we may. We can have plenty of time for sexual energy in the middle, but I want to talk about my favorite player, and I think he's still mine. I get to have him to myself, don't I? Derrick White?
No.
Okay,
no. I actually, as a matter of fact, I might have beaten you here again to Derrick White.
Really?
Last year at the start of the season, when the Spurs were awful, right? Like DeJounte Murray got hurt. They were without their starting point guard. Derrick White was going to fill in, and all anybody thought about was, all right, this guy was in the G League. Well, talking to our good friend Cole Zwicker, he loved him. He got me high on this guy. So I started digging into some of his G League tape from the previous season. I was like, wow, this guy is probably a better defender than DeJounte Murray. I need to see it in the NBA. Well, then he got hurt. And that first 6 weeks of the season, the Spurs were a disaster on defense. And then he comes back, and instantly it's like, oh, hey, Gregg Popovich learned how to coach defense again.
Yeah.
And then he went out again. And all of a sudden, the Spurs were awful. Derrick White was the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs last year. So I think I beat you there, Nick.
Well, I'm trying to look because I know I thought I was the year before he was on my favorite player list. Am I crazy, or was it always last year?
Really? Did you watch a lot of G League?
He didn't play the NBA in 2017, 18?
I don't think so.
Okay, so I guess it may. I'm looking right now.
Now we got to look it up. Now we're on this track.
Yeah, only because it just seems like it had been longer than just like last year. But
he played 17 games, 8 minutes a game.
All right, so yeah, all right. Well, I have as early as January 11th, Derrick White on my favorite players list was one tweet I could see. But I must have known about him before January. In fact, there is a little bit of we need to find out whatever happened. I was in New York and I saw the Spurs get beat by the Knicks in February, and he didn't play in that game, and he looked certainly healthy. So there was something happened, I feel like, that he got on Pop's bad side, and he didn't play him for a couple games, which also cost them that game.
So we had the knee thing early on, and then it flared up again around that time. That was when they got bad again. By the way, you know what? I know exactly what you're thinking of with Derrick White. Now, we're just ignoring Jared. It's like he doesn't exist.
I don't really care.
But it was from our draft show the year he got drafted because we did it live, and we both were like, the Spurs strike again because they got another seasoned player with an NBA-ready body who is going to come out and defend. If we don't know if he's going to score, but he's going to defend. And that's what it was. We were both pumped that he went to the Spurs.
Okay. Yeah, that was it. But I just know that there was moments when I was like so excited about him and I'm tweeting about it. I guess it was only last year, but there's no question. I mean, we could share. There's plenty of him to go around. And I know that we like the defense, but I'm telling you, the way he plays offense is what I kind of respond to because he's just such a heady player, and he can make the plays, like maybe not even expecting him to, and all of a sudden he'll make a crazy great dime off of pick and roll that like a few players will be able to see, and then he'll nail threes. It gets hot from there. So I think that one of the questions we have probably is whether his shooting is, what is his shooting? Is he a good shooter? Is he not a good shooter?
I mean, right now I'd say no, because I just need to see more of it. That hot month and then the playoffs, it's just not enough. His mid-range game is pretty good, and he can finish. Clearly, he's a great athlete. I mean, I think he's one of the probably 10 best defenders in the league already. Especially, I want him at the point of attack if I'm the Spurs. He's a better defender than DeJounte Murray is on the ball. And but the shooting stuff, we'll see. I think, when he has more responsibilities in the offense, we'll get a better feel for that. What we saw in the playoffs is kind of an aberration. I'm not ready to trust it yet.
Fair enough. Jared, thoughts?
I mean, he shot about 51% and 38% or so after New Year's Eve last year. I think it's a big enough. That's about half the season. I think it was like just shy of 40 games.
What is he doing? Two threes a game though?
Probably 2 to 2.5, I think. Yeah.
So like Brandon Ingram numbers. I can't trust it yet.
There's a comparison. Very long for his position. I like that.
Yeah.
But he, what I like about him is that he's not like he doesn't look like he's seeking his shot usually. He shoots when he needs to shoot.
Sure.
And before we came on the air, I was comparing him to Tony Parker, and like definitely different stylistically, but I think his decision making about how he tries to execute every single play is that common thread that I see with Parker. And not to mention, I think he has a really nice floater game that's emerging, and we can see that he's just really good with body control, changing pace, being able to shoot at unpredictable times. And that's what I really like about him, is that I don't even have like a very clear grasp on what his play style is, what his go-to moves are yet. I think he still is a pretty unpredictable player, and I think that's very much by design.
I just need him to develop an offhand, right?
Okay.
He just doesn't have one at all. And it's one thing if you're Sabonis or Thad Young and you've got the body that you actually can force your way into the dominant hand. It doesn't work if you're a guard. You got to be able to go both ways. And you could see the Nuggets during that playoff series adjust, and they were weakening him really, really hard. Now he managed to get back to his strong hand, which, hey, make it work. But he's gonna have to actually overcome that and develop that hand. Luckily, though, he's got DeMar DeRozan there. Like, that's a great guy to learn from, because DeMar came in the same way. He was a one-handed player, and over a summer added his left hand. And now, I don't know, Nick, you love to watch floaters and break them down. DeMar's lefty floater might be as good as his righty floater.
Yeah, I've had to accept DeMar's game. I just feel like I didn't like it. I never liked it. I couldn't really. It's just the mid-range stuff. And but at his size and his elevation on those shots, they are good shots, and you can rate them really well. And I'm in the middle of reading Sprawl Ball by Kirk Goldsberry, and he was going over like the difference in the values and why we wouldn't want to shoot those threes. But he did mention in that book how like the Spurs, I believe he did, but the Spurs, actually he didn't. Somewhere else I was reading it. Sorry, the Spurs had the top 3 offensive rating in the league, and they shot more mid range than anybody.
Yeah, well, because and people get tired of hearing me say this, but it's the great shot over the good shot, and the good shot over the okay shot. Like, it's increments of better quality shots. They're looking for that open shot. I mean, they shot the fewest threes in the league, led the league in 3-point percentage. Now, if they took more threes, that would probably drop, because you're going to take, lesser looks. They're not going to be as good. So, it works for them. They're going to be a top 10 offense again this year.
Yeah. My prediction, by the way, for Derrick White is I'm sure he'll be 38% from 3. I bet you if he gets normal minutes, that goes up to 5 a game. And that's a threat. He'll just be a guy that will space the floor, knowing how the Spurs offense runs generally when it's not doing, the DeMar DeRozan, LaMarcus Aldridge game. But so I think he'll benefit from that. I'm really excited because everyone's forgotten about the Spurs again. Is there like we need to have like a bell, that you ring when everyone forgets about the Spurs every freaking year, and then they're in the playoffs. But by the way, I think the bell might be the same tone as the Blazers bell when we forget about them too. You know what I mean?
You know what? Last year I said, this is the last time I underestimate the Blazers. And I'm never picking against Pop again. I have the Spurs penciled in as my 8 seed today, barring any kind of unforeseen change. I think that's what we're at. Like the West to me is just locked. Everyone knows the top 7. The 8 seed was kind of where we were trying to figure out who it's going to be. I think it's the Spurs. It's just going to be the Spurs until the heat death of the universe. Spurs are going to be in the playoffs. That's it.
And you don't think the Mavericks are going to be in the playoffs then?
No. Come on, a 7-foot guy coming off an ACL surgery.
Is he going to be ready for the start of the year?
He should be, but what is he going to be?
We don't know. It's pretty damn good, I mean, I'm assuming ACLs,
Maybe. I don't know.
I mean, I was watching him in April do his post-up drills, and he looked powerful and scary as hell. I think for him, the big concern is how does he look as a perimeter attacker?
How do you look in that bar fight?
Exactly.
Not great.
I mean, what was his
It looked powerful there.
But it's a legit question. Is he going to be more of a back to the basket type player this year because he can't handle, working off the dribble from the top of the key as well?
That limits he may not that be optimized team ceiling, right? Like if he can't pop in the pick and roll, and he can't spot up because he's no threat to attack, so you can actually guard him out on the 3-point line. Then what is he?
Well, he's so at his height and with his release point, I don't think that matters a ton. He still is a useful spot up guy if he's still shooting the ball well.
But part of what allowed him to be wide open on a lot of threes is that you had to worry about him putting it on the floor. And if you don't have to worry about that now, it takes a year for these guys to come back from the ACL tears, especially bigs, that's hit or miss anyway. I just don't expect it this year. I think they're going to be fine and probably make the playoffs the following season, which is what it's all about anyway.
Fair enough. Well, you know what? It's time to demand more from your workout gear, just like you want to demand more from the Mavericks this coming up season. And there's no better company that does that than No Bull. Do you guys work out a lot?
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah. And so like that when I can't get over like the dry fit, that feeling of that when it's a really good feeling, made material. And I now have a No Bull, like it's actually a long sleeve t-shirt. This has to be all the rage coming up, right? Long sleeve t-shirts to me are amazing. Do you have any of those guys?
Yeah, long sleeve. It's great because it's airy. It's light enough that you can wear it even when it's hot. It also keeps the sun off you. It's good.
Yeah. So I love it. I wear it all the time now. Everyone asks me about what does it mean when it says No Bull, and I tell them about it. And it's designed for cross training, weightlifting, intervals, cardio, and whatever else your training can dish out. And so the fabric is durable, breathable, and abrasion resistant. I think that's the key. The abrasion resistant stuff really makes it feel great. And so if you want that simple, durable, and functional training gear, you have to visit nobullproject.com/breakdown. It's training gear for people who work hard and don't believe in excuses. So go to nobullproject.com/breakdown and get your gear today. That is nobullproject.com/breakdown, and you will get your gear there. So,
and that's No Bull.
And it's No Bull. And what else is No Bull is having you here, Dave. And by the way, I want to make sure I shout out Gigalopuff for doing the moderation. He is out there like Batman, the bat signal. And we had some nice words from Poker Paparazzi in the comments right now. So make sure you guys ask some questions because I think we're going to take some at some point because there's not a lot going on out there. We need some inspiration.
Oh, it's dead period.
Totally.
All right. Can we talk about movies? Have you guys seen Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Twice.
It's beautiful, right?
Well, I had to see it the second time because I didn't like it as much the first time. And when I did see it again the second time, I did feel a lot of the issues sort of go away. But here's the thing. It's about 40 minutes too long.
I disagree.
And I think if they cut the 40 minutes, it makes it a perfect movie.
Make it 40 minutes longer. Give me more.
Okay.
Leo is incredible in that movie. I want to watch, what was it, Lancer? Was that the name of the TV show they were making? Him and Oliphant? I want to watch a full-length movie of that.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
That was great. Here's the thing. I think I like Brad Pitt more And by the way, you haven't seen it, right, Jared?
Oh wait, we don't want to spoil it.
No,
All right,
we're not really going to spoil it, but hey, listen, probably everybody else.
I was aware Brad Pitt was in the movie, so
but I'll tell you,
Timothy Olyphant's not going to ruin it for me.
What's really, really scary is like he channels Robert Redford in this movie so much, almost to the point where it's like it's the same guy, and he's on the roof in a scene where he's just sort of doing something, repairs, and it's like they do a close up. It's Robert Redford. It's crazy. And by the way, there isn't a bigger aficionado of that era and that culture of LA than me, and I studied the whole like Manson thing. So I was really excited about that, and I felt that what they did there, without spoiling anything, was really creative and interesting. I would have taken 40 more minutes of living in that realm and cutting back and forth to that versus dealing with when we see Al Pacino's character. I think that could just go away. And I'm almost to the point where I'm wondering if Al Pacino reached out and said, "Hey, I want to be in your movie," and he just sort of like shoved in a whole section of this movie just for him to be in.
Hey, listen, if Al wants to be in my movie, I'll write a movie. Just to put him in it, whatever he wants.
Fair enough. Yeah, when Pacino gives you a call, you got to get it. You can't say no, and you can't cut him out. You can't do all that stuff. So, do you think that they filmed the whole Italy sequence?
Oh, I bet they did. I bet they made a spaghetti western.
Yeah, and they just had to cut it because it was going to be 4.5 hours.
Yeah, it'll be on the Blu-ray. There's going to be like 10 hours of content. I know that he actually wrote like 3 episodes of the TV show.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So it's gonna be awesome. I'm pumped for that. Anyway, all right. Sorry, it's Jared. I don't want to spoil the movie for you.
Well, this part I'm enjoying, but the YouTube commenters are they're ready.
Yeah, I also don't want to spoil it for them.
Oh, really? I don't see. Okay, I'm looking for them. I don't see anything about this movie commenting. Maybe I'm behind. Okay. Well, is there another subject we can grasp onto?
We got a few interesting questions here. I mean, we have first question: Jaren Jackson Jr. Ceiling, floor, go.
Ceiling is Tim Duncan. Floor is 2-time All-Star.
Floor could be something like Randall.
No,
maybe.
No, I think he's already better than Julius Randle.
Yeah.
You really think? I mean, okay, listen, I'm not going to defend Julius Randle to the hilt, but the guy is like a 23-11 guy, right? And with like 4 assists.
Who gives up 43?
Defense, schmefense. We don't talk about
well,
defense,
this is the thing. So Jaren Jackson is a defensive savant. I mean, he has a chance. Like if he could become Kevin Durant, Kevin Garnett.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. So Memphis actually brought in Garnett to work with Jaren Jackson. That's a perfect guy for him to work with. I do think that he has all-time sort of potential.
Okay. I like that. I'm really intrigued, and this is the year to see what he can do now that he's got his feet wet. What is he going to add this year and come in with more confidence? All those things we normally would see. Jaren Jackson probably is the kind of guy that benefits from playing right now with FIBA. Wait, is he playing with him right now? He's not, is he? No.
No.
Everyone else bowed out.
I don't know why too. I think he's already as good as Miles Turner, and Turner's on the team, so I don't know why he's not.
See, I wouldn't say that yet.
I think he's. Or maybe by the end of next season, I think
maybe
he'll be as good as where Miles Turner is.
Maybe now. Miles Turner's really good.
He's good.
I'm kind of on the fence with Turner just because I scouted him so much last year in the playoffs because the Celtics played them, and in the playoffs, I mean he's not a consistent enough offensive player for me to feel really good about him. Defensively, he checks off almost every box that you want your 5 to check off. I mean, he definitely could be a little bit better on either handily being on an island or being more aggressive in pick and roll schemes. But generally, he does everything defensively you want out of a 5. But he gets into these grooves where he can score out of the post or he can score out of the pick and pop. But he just isn't. You can't count on him as a part of your offense yet. And I mean, he's still really young, so obviously he can get there. But Jackson, he just seems to me like someone who is. I mean, what made KG was he was dominant on a nightly basis, and he knew on a nightly basis what part of his game was going. And that's what I guess most, superstar players have anyway. And Jackson, I feel like he's dynamic enough that he could be that guy. He seems that he can already attack from the perimeter or is already clearly projectable as a perimeter attacker that'll make him that kind of, potentially Garnett level player. But obviously KG just had he could get to any kind of shot from anywhere on the floor. That's what made him so special.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Here, another good question from friend of the breakdown. Adam Spinella asked, next year's breakout star who has never been an All-Star before and isn't Zion is, and maybe we just talked about him, but is there anybody else in that list?
De'Aaron Fox.
Exactly.
De'Aaron, no, okay, yes, because is he going to make an All-Star team in the West?
So that's the tough part, is that the West is stacked. And, like Russell Westbrook is probably still going to make the All-Star game.
Oh, and by the way, the question doesn't necessarily even mean that he will be an All-Star, but he's just going to be a breakout star. So so we can still apply that.
By the way, now that's an interesting thing. So if Fox can make this super duper year 3 leap, could the Kings be the 8th seed instead of the Spurs?
Sure.
Yes.
I mean, they got Corey Joseph, so they're pretty much a playoff team now, right? So
he doesn't miss the playoffs.
They have like pretty solid depth. I think Harry Giles is a big part of that question. Is he going to be a big contributor, or is his career kind of, just because of his knee history, always be kind of like a 20-minute a night kind of guy? But I mean, people continue to forget that his talent's insane, and Bagley made tremendous progress throughout the year too. Fox got the attention because he was just so dominant out the gate, but I thought Bagley really started to get a feel for things last year, and he seems like the kind of guy that, give him a summer to really practice attacking NBA defenses and learning how to defend, and like he can come back as a total monster year 2. So like both him and Fox seem like they're just, like, as David Griffin would put it, have a rocket in their ass.
Okay, I like that. That's a good way to put it. So De'Aaron Fox, I certainly would vote for him, and I really can't wait to see that backcourt too. I think Buddy Hield also is poised to continue to break out and become another backcourt that could, maybe they'll give Dame and CJ a run for their money at that level, and then certainly Steph and Clay, but they could be right there, and more importantly, like when they end up playing Steph and Clay, really hurt them and really cause problems for them when Clay gets healthy. And certainly Dame and CJ are going to have a really hard time stopping those guys. So that's what I'm really looking forward to, is how those backcourts are going to go at each other.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest topic of conversation, right? Like that we've had in the last few weeks has been about ranking backcourts, ranking duos. And I think Fox and Hield have a really good shot at being on that list when we're talking about, dynamic duos. I mean, they're both really good and clearly dynamic. I mean, did you guys see that dunk from USA practice today from De'Aaron Fox? Oh, it's insane.
It's so
nuts.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's off the wall through the legs alley-oop for De'Aaron Fox.
I saw that. Okay. Yes.
And last year he had bounce. I mean, when he was on the break, he would get up there and throw down tomahawks. But we're seeing that his athleticism is improving more and more. Because when he was coming out of college, we thought that he was really quick and a good finisher that could get up there and like get finger rolls off. But now we're seeing he looks like a power dunker, like a wing. And to have that kind of finishing capability, there's only, I mean, how many guards, whether at the 1 or the 2 in the league, have that kind of finishing capability? It's not Russell Westbrook, obviously, but it's like that, almost in that class, and that's extremely rare, and that's what makes you. So it's what's made Donovan Mitchell a budding superstar. I mean, there's very few of those kind of guys, and especially coming, I guess, like when that generation takes over, it seems like there's even less and less of those guys because there's so many shooters and so many perimeter-based players entering the league. So that could be the new inefficiency that they attack, is just guys that can finish over everybody at the rim.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you this. Did you guys go to school for 8th grade?
I never made it past 7th grade. Sorry.
No. What about you, Dave?
I mean, yes.
You were in 8th grade? Okay, I was too. I'm like, what was the really cool thing, though, when you guys were like in 8th grade that you had to do or had to have? Like the Pokemon?
I wanted GTA really bad.
You what?
I wanted Grand Theft Auto. I had an Xbox, and it wasn't on Xbox.
8th grade was 1994?
Oh, geez.
Oh, my God.
Young.
1994, I think, was 8th grade.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Chicks. It was literally like, I don't know. I cared about basketball and I cared about girls.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I was the same way. I think, I'm trying to think of like what we really loved. Here's one thing. I actually was a trendsetter to some degree fashion wise. I started wearing my watch on my belt loop, and people started to do that. It was crazy. And so that was the cool thing there. But you know what's really cool now these days is BOMBAS socks.
Oh, yeah.
These things, it's not that surprising either because they're the most comfortable socks ever. And they're colorful, literally bursting with color. They even have a little colorful bee on them. So Bombas, I don't know. Have you guys ever had any contact with Bombas socks before?
I haven't. What are they made out of?
I have, and I'm not getting paid to say this. They're actually pretty amazing socks.
Yeah,
like they're actually worth it. Yeah,
especially because they're designed with several comfort innovations that help make them feel better than any other kid sock ever made. So they also donate a pair of socks for every pair purchased. So you should get yourself some too, because I wear them every day, and they really are really comfortable. And the way to get them would be to go to bombas.com/breakdown, and you'll get 20% off your first purchase.
20%.
Yes. So it's a win-win situation all the way around. Because remember, like John Wooden has always stressed how important it is to take care of your feet and having your socks on properly. And that's, if you want to go there to that website, it is bombas.com/breakdown. 20% off your first purchase. That's bombas.com/breakdown. Get yourself some socks.
By the way, they also, for every item purchased, they also donate one item. I'm looking at their website right now. That's pretty cool.
That's been like a part of their mission ever since the beginning.
That's awesome. Yeah, I like
really
that.
Help them, and I like that the corporate philanthropy is a big part of the business model nowadays. And
well, listen, people treating other people with respect and doing nice things is like, I think we just could use a little bit more of that, no matter what, wherever we are.
That's why we brought Dave DuFour here.
Yes. Well, he's doing the nice thing for us, I think, right?
Which totally throwing you guys a bone.
Yeah.
And shout out to the YouTube commenters who are complaining about an ad read during a free live show.
I mean, I was going to actually just comment in the YouTube comments because I didn't want to derail us, but just come on. Come on.
Yeah, and it's not like you don't know it's coming. You guys, this is what we do. This is how I do it. I believe I'm one of the goats here of integrating ads.
Hey, so, I will tell you right now, that transition to the ad read was beautiful. I was like, I had no idea. It was a roller coaster. I had no idea where you were going when you asked us about 8th grade. I was like, is there some up and coming 8th grade phenom I need to know about that I don't know about? What is happening here?
Yeah, and then boom, you got to loosen them up. It's kind of like what Quentin Tarantino does. He kind of gets you laughing a little bit, makes it funny, and then all of a sudden just exposes you to the most gruesome, violence you can ever imagine. Not that Once Upon a Time in Hollywood has it that way, but certainly Django and Reservoir Dogs and whatnot do that too. So.
All right, well, shout out to Random Dude, which is a great name, by the way, for saying that we need to make money because we work hard. Goddamn right.
Well, you know what?
10 o'clock on a Thursday night here, and I still have to go out after this. So
yes, you have to karaoke. But you know what? Karaoke can wait for a little bit longer because Random Dude had a good question. Do you think the Nets will ever win an NBA title? How will KD come back? Guys, thoughts?
No, I don't. I don't think they will. That's it.
I mean,
the curse of Dr. J?
No, I just think that, they won't. I'm assuming they mean with this Kyrie KD iteration. I can't predict what might happen 50 years from now. When LeBron James IV is playing for the Brooklyn Nets.
Okay. Or when Bronny Jr.
Yeah.
Okay, well, here, let's go through what's like the checklist that needs to happen for them to win. So
Kyrie and KD are healthy.
Kyrie needs to make that ascension that didn't quite happen in Boston, that it looked like he was kind of getting to last year, and then everything fell apart, which is definitely something that can happen. He's entering people forget he's entering his prime age now. So there's a lot more room for him to grow. He, as efficient as his shooting numbers are, as someone who covered him up close for the last couple of years, his shooting selection is not that efficient. It's pretty good, but it's not nearly as good as it could be. So there's a lot of room for him to grow there. There's a lot of decision-making improvement that he can make to become like a 30-point scorer. And then, so that's the first thing that needs to happen. KD needs to come back next year and be great pretty much right away, because their optimal window to win is basically in years 2 and 3 of this deal. The likelihood of that happening is very low because of his age, but there's probably a pretty good chance that 2 years from now, he'll still be in his prime at age. Would that be 33 or 34 at that point? 33,
33.
Right? Yeah. So 33, I think he'd be at the tail end of his prime, and he's 7 feet tall, so he can stretch his prime out and just kind of change his play style over the years to accommodate for it. But obviously, our big concern is that at his age, he is still able to literally just drive down the middle and jump over 5 people to throw it down. If he loses that, how great is he? Still great, but maybe not great enough to carry you. Right. And then I think Karis LeVert has to really ascend into being like
he's got to be a third guy.
Yeah, he's got to be like a DeMar DeRozan type scorer or offensive player. Maybe I'm trying to think of like a good comparison, but he's got to be like a Jimmy Butler, DeMar DeRozan level player, like a, you know, maybe not necessarily like a really good 3-point shooter, but someone with a really sharp mid-range game who can just wreak havoc in the post or
like a Joe Johnson.
Yeah, Joe Johnson's a much better shooter than those guys. So,
but LeVert, LeVert, I'm not sold on, but LeVert, I think, has the ability, and especially just by virtue of playing in this era, will shoot more threes. Will probably get better at shooting more threes. You know, by the way, let me ask you this, because I keep talking about this with other people. Like the future of, okay, you all saw Steph get handled, right, and then dunked on, or he didn't get dunked on, but right, that 7-footer. We all saw that.
Yeah.
So a 7-foot, high school kid went around the back through legs, whatever, by him, and then dunked it. So that's going to be the future of the NBA, right? The center position will have ball handlers, and we're probably going to have teams that will have 40% 3-point shooters at the same time. Right? Like
sure.
5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Now,
but yeah, I agree that the center, with the ascension of Jokic and Kat, Porzingis, if he gets back into that class, I mean, that you're definitely going to have the center be like maybe the primary perimeter attacker for sure. I think that's definitely a big part of the future. And I think we have Evan Mobley coming into the league too, who could be another one of those type of players.
Right. And the point being that like the game already doesn't resemble what it was in the 90s. And I think if that were to happen, it really won't resemble anything we're watching now, because in theory, if you have 40% 3-point shooters and they all handle the ball, then I don't know. My impression that it's completely just really spread out, right? And really just attacking off the dribble and drive kick, like no post, no nothing. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it looks like, but it's probably a lot. Even the 3-point percentage frequency is going to go up as well, which is crazy. I don't know. It just seems crazy to me, but it seems like that's what we're moving towards.
And that's what Jared Allen is going to do for the 2022 champion Brooklyn Nets.
He's working on that, right?
I assume so. I mean, I think he needs to learn how to do anything besides pick and roll, lob catching. Essentially, at this point, he needs to develop some semblance of a creative offensive game. But he's got crazy talent. And how tall is he? 6'10" and then the fro also. He's big enough to be like he's
like 7'10" with the fro.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's got a huge
pulling a Fletch.
No.
Yeah. So that's the question. That's the answer to that question. Any other questions we see here as we start to move closer to the end and the beginning?
Random dude with another great question. What do you think of Rodions Kurucs?
Oh,
he's good.
He's like a good sixth man on a playoff team. He might start, right?
He's no Musa. That guy's a flamethrower, man.
Musa was the guy that I was really high on coming into the draft.
He was injured. He was injured, and that's tough for a rookie. I hate to pump Summer League up, but Musa was ridiculous at Summer League. Like, he was way too good to be out there. And with KD out this year, they're going to actually need that shooting, his scoring. So I think it's going to be a breakout year for Musa.
So does that make Brooklyn one of the deepest teams in the NBA if he breaks out and Kurucs maintains what he was doing last year? I mean,
that's pretty good.
Because I feel like they're high end talent without KD healthy this year. Doesn't seem like they're a top 5 seed at this point, but their depth really could be what makes it happen for them.
Yeah. Well, the way I look at it is they will be better, and they were a 6th seed, right? So they have to be better than that, right? And so it's got to be 5th, 4th anyway, right? Even without KD.
Indiana, Boston, Milwaukee, and Sixers definitely seem like they could be the top 4 teams. Indiana, it's really hard to know what to expect out of them. Miami.
We sure about Boston?
Well, so I think those are the most likely top 4 seeds.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, the East can go any direction with whether it's Brooklyn or Miami. Maybe Orlando continues to improve.
Oh, I got another breakout guy.
Okay.
Bam Adebayo.
Ooh,
speaking of teams that could actually pop a little bit more than we expect, Miami could be in that mix if Bam takes off.
Yeah, now you're giving me flashbacks. This is the same thing you said when he was coming out, I think, right?
Yeah.
So
he was severely underrated coming into the draft. Yeah. And he's they were showing footage of like guys playing King of the Court at Team USA practice, and he looked amazing. Like, his post skills are getting so much better. I didn't think he really had any post skills when he was in college, not that much. And now he's showing like a pretty, like he's got some creative, kind of feel it out turns. He's got a good fadeaway jumper. So like, he can work pretty well in the pick and roll. So if that three really is coming along, he could score from three phases of the court. He becomes a very, very dynamic playing pick and roll with both Butler and Dragic. He could have a huge year.
Now, and he can handle in transition too.
We have a super chat I want to make sure I take care of. Thank you so much from Scruler. Awesome name and awesome super chat. Thank you so much for being generous there. And as a result, he gets the question right to the top of the list. It's two questions. Does the NBA need to get rid of the 3-step/gather rule? Giannis driving to the hoop makes the game look silly. Same with Harden's step back. It's one question. He considers the gather 3 steps when, I ad nauseum trying to explain why it's not 3 steps. They're not going to get rid of that. I think the answer is no. Would you all agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I do think there is a traveling problem in the league.
Okay.
And I think it does need to be addressed, but that one isn't the one. Like, that's not the one to single out. There's some egregious traveling, in particular pivot foot violations and things like that. Like, you could clean the game up quite a bit by just calling some of that. I only really care when guy gains an advantage, though. So, give me all those Corey Brewer 7 steps with the ball up. I don't care about that.
How is this different from what LeBron has been doing for the last 15 years? I think it's pretty much exactly the same thing, right?
Yeah.
And LeBron with his crab dribble move, you could even argue was maybe even abusing it to a degree that these guys aren't quite as much. I think the main thing where you could argue there's travels is when the foot slides on, like, usually the second step. And maybe they can be a little bit more judicious in cracking down on that, or maybe be a little bit more judicious on cracking down on spin moves, because most spin moves are not legal. It's usually a 2-foot jump. It's very rare that a guy really is pivoting on his heel. So maybe that's where they start, making points of education in the next year or two. But you know what? The league is not going to crack down on anything Giannis is doing, because Giannis is emerging as maybe the most valuable, like the 5th most valuable star the NBA has really ever had,
right?
Because of his international appeal, because of how much he's bringing in from all around the world, and because he's with a small market team, and he's making the small market teams not upset, because it's showing if you draft well, you can have that ultra marketable star. So we'll see when he goes to the Lakers in 2 years. Maybe that'll change, but they're not going to legislate out anything that Giannis is doing, because Giannis is like an absolute highlight machine. He's a great heir apparent to LeBron.
Yeah.
And we don't want to change it. But, when all these 7-footers that are attacking that we're talking about, when they start doing Euro steps that cover 20 feet of ground, maybe teams are going to start complaining about it more and more. And it starts to happen. It really, because it all depends. It's not about what the public thinks. Nobody gives a crap about the public. It's literally about the coaches and GMs like sending angry emails to Adam Silver and Kiki Vanderway and Ronnie McCutcheon.
Yeah.
That's all that dictates it. And then it comes up at competition committee meetings and executive committee meetings and stuff like that. That's how these things really happen.
Well, that's it. Well, let's start a website like stopthetraveling.com, and we'll start amassing all these clips together. And that will finally make some noise, and maybe we'll have some influence. I think
I don't want to stop the traveling. I like the traveling. I think the Harden step back is kind of bullshit, and I think that him promising that he has like a super travel move that he's going to break out this year. I'm very excited to see that.
Yeah.
But I don't. What I like is guys advancing forward, trying to use long strides. So anything that encourages that, I'm all in favor of. It's the guys that are trying to do the little cheat moves, or using hooks or elbows and stuff like that. That's the thing that you shouldn't. That's what you should be taking out.
I would rather see them clean up the push-offs on drives. I mean, you talked about LeBron. Like, LeBron's entire career he's gotten away with strong arming with that left arm. And I'd rather see that cleaned up, because it just makes it so you literally cannot guard him, because he's allowed to get away with an offensive foul. I clean that up first, and then we can talk about travel.
I mean, the message to us our entire lives is all about you need to play with your footwork and your decision making, your technique, not using physicality to cheat. So I think now maybe they're getting to the other end of the spectrum there, and that's the issue. But I think that we're still within the bounds of reasonableness.
Okay, so
Credit to Malbec Stallion for saying Harden is peak adventurer. That's poetry.
All right. Well, based on what Dave says, okay, the website probably then should be stoplebronoffensivefouls.com. And, I want to make this website. And if I need to do that, there's no other place to go to than Wix to design this website. Because they have over 140 million customers that use Wix and publish their websites. And you can start and publish for free. So that'd be awesome for this one. Choose from over 500 stunning templates. Stunning. And unlimited storage. The design is so easy to use with drag and drop technology that in only a few minutes, you'll be having all sorts of clips of LeBron James dislodging and pushing guys out of the way and no call left and right.
And then, getting fouled on the way to the hoop, too.
Yeah, okay, fine, fair enough. And all the, travels and the gathers from Harden, we'll throw those in there in a separate page because you can do that really easily with Wix. It's the best way to, if you want to make a statement, have a beautiful looking website, Wix will do that for you with their artificial intelligence and built-in SEO that makes sure that every search engine can find your site easily. And best of all, you can save 10% off your yearly premium plan if you head over to wix.com/podcast. Wix, the place to create professional websites. There you go. Right. So, I guess I'll have to start it now. I'll have to get registered and whatever and get going with that. So, stoplebronoffensivefouls.com. This rolls right off the tongue.
By the way, Kawhi is also...
he's the worst.
Yeah, he's really, really bad about it.
But for the traveling, not the offensive foul.
No, the offensive foul, too. He gets away with that same left hand. Yeah.
He's really good about sneaking in a push off. It's usually off of the Coach Nick method, as we like to call it here, which is instead of doing the usual left, right, 1-2 step into the shot, a lot of the time he'll do the short stop with or it'll just be not even like the hop, but just stopping short in your stride and kind of going into your back foot into the shot. And a lot of the time you'll see if he's doing that with his left foot, he'll kind of do a little bit of a push off to give himself just that little bit of clearance that he needs.
Interesting. Well, my new obsession these days is the right-left spot up shot for righties, not going to your left, just like spotting up versus left-right. And I think that might be better than left-right, than the more quote-unquote natural. I'm seeing it happen more and more organically. And I'm starting to think that when you anchor the shooting foot first, you eliminate some extra of the Z-axis rotation that you might get when you're doing a left-right into the air. And it's weird, I know, but try it, Dave, when you get in the court next time.
I will, yeah.
You might realize, because here's the thing. I've shown it to some D1 guys, like really good shooters, and they all start to kind of rub their chin a little bit and start thinking like, there's something there. And, maybe we've been doing it wrong in what we consider natural in terms of stepping into a shot. And this could be another way of improving your percentage.
Yeah, maybe. I just think about throwing a baseball and how awkward it would be to step forward first with the...
Yeah. But I've seen kids do that, and then we spend a lot of time when they're youth, training them not to do that. Just like we train them not to go jump off their off foot for an off foot layup, right?
Right.
And they naturally will do off foot layups at 5, 6, 7, and then we spend their entire childhood saying no, you got to go off the left foot for the right hand layup. And it turns out they need that off foot layup when they get older, and they don't have it. So. Try it, play with it. It's provocative, but I think there's something there, and I think people might have to open their eyes a little bit and try it out and see.
Yeah, me. I'm always the basketball court's a laboratory, so I'm down for checking it out.
Love it. Well, you know what? I think this experiment went very well today.
Yeah, I'm glad I was around for
one.
Yeah.
It's really nice when you can just say, hey, a minute before you're about to launch, hey, let's just see if Dave is around, and here he was. Dave, where do we find you these days? Because, we used to do all these together, and now you're not here anymore. But
well, I moved up in the world. No, I'm just
yes.
The Athletic. I'm hosting the back-to-back podcast over there. Nerder She Wrote. Usually once a week. Although it's the dry time of the summer now. So
now your podcast, being part of Athletic, is still free. It's not behind a paywall, right?
No, it is behind the paywall.
Oh, so you got to
subscribe to the Athletic. It's $3 a month. And we just added all this soccer coverage.
Oh, wow. Well, is there a way to save any money by trying to subscribe to you if you give them something?
I don't have a promo code right now.
Oh, then just go to one of my articles and sign up there. Then.
I have a promo code. I think my code's Coach Nick, because I have a weekly video there on the Athletic as well.
That's it, right?
We're all part of the same family. And
Jared, it's amazing we're all under the Athletic umbrella. Yeah.
Yeah, they're taking over. So, all right, well, great stuff, Dave. Again, thank you so much for joining us. I miss you already, Jared. I miss you. But I'm nice to see you back home in your regular gigs.
We have a couple super chats we have to get to.
Oh crap! You know what? I'm sorry. Yeah. Oh my god!
Right. I'll read them out.
Listen. We know who's running the show here. Jared, not only super co-host, but also super producer.
Yes. Yeah. I'm sorry. And then you give a shot at pronouncing his name, Jared.
So I'm gonna go with Manrik Gudum. Apologies if I got that wrong. I think I did a pretty decent job at that. So 2 questions. Chance Lucca and KP win the ship together, Slava Ukraini. And then thoughts on Svi Mykhailiuk and Alex Len. Len seems a beast. Interesting time to have that take on Alex Len. I know our athletic Hawks beat writer, Chris Kirshner, I think he had Len as the starting center still, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I just want to look at his numbers.
Dave's reaction was exactly my reaction. For one, I'm going to quickly check to make sure Alex Len is still on the Atlanta.
Alex Len averaged. Wait a minute, time out. In 20 minutes a game last year for Atlanta, he averaged over 2.5 threes a game attempted and made 36%.
That's been like the big shocker, is that like there's something about the water in Atlanta, because Dwayne Dedmon became a 3-point shooter there. Len is adding that touch. I mean, Len is
hang on, but listen, he's got talent. Yeah, but he left an awful organization that clearly doesn't know what in the fuck it's doing on a basketball court, and he went to a place where they are clearly on the upswing and they're full of smart people. Like, I'm not surprised that Alex Len all of a sudden discovered, oh shit, I got a little bit of touch on my jump shot. Guess what? He came in the league. That was one of the things people talked about. He got a nice touch. So why wouldn't you have that guy shooting threes?
Right.
This is not Shaquille O'Neal. Like, have him shoot some threes.
And I will say this: 25 threes before last season.
Yeah.
In the last season, he took 204.
And I will say this: going through the footage for Jeremy Lin, the video I did a few days ago that went viral, so many of his dimes were to Alex Len. And so I don't know what's going to happen with Alex Len this year, because he literally was just getting dunks and dunks for days on Lin drives. And without him, I suppose that's going to be Trae Young territory now, and he'll learn from that and figure that out too. And if that's the case, Len's 11 points per game is going to go to 15, 16, and he'll probably get 8 or 9 rebounds. And that's pretty good for a starting center on no matter where you are.
We know what's amazing is Len lost the starting spot early in the year and then kind of gained it back for the last 20 games. He averaged 15.5 points and shot 40% from 3 on 5 attempts.
And that has to be with Lin a lot of those games too at the end of the season. Oh no, never mind, because he went to Toronto.
No, Lin was gone at that point.
So, but either way, so there you go. So they've already solved that and figured out how to make that work, because the guy he's like that Clint Capella kind of guy. And I think it's, again, like we mentioned earlier in the show about how they're going to have a ball handling centers that we're going to shoot threes. I wonder if the Alex Lens are going to be the dinosaurs. The Clint Capellas are going to be the dinosaurs. You're simply not going to have them. They're going to end up having more guard-like guys going, in the next 5-6 years. I don't know.
Listen, Trae. I want to blame Trae Young for Alex Len looking like a decent basketball player last year. I think Trae Young might be another one of these rising tide guys. He's gonna take guys like Len and make them useful. And so I'm gonna give him the credit.
Okay, because by the way, we're talking about De'Aaron Fox, but Trae Young, had a monster year. After the initial slow part of it, he really cleaned up in the last several months of the year. So, he's a guy that could be better than all of them.
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know. Y'all got me excited now about basketball.
Absolutely.
75 days to go.
Is that right? No.
75
till
days.
When?
Till the season starts.
Till like preseason or till the season?
No, regular season. Nobody cares about preseason.
75 days? That's it?
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm going on vacation right now for about 9 days starting tomorrow. So I'm going to get it.
Where are you going?
I'm going to Hawaii, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm very excited about that. And I just had a little mini vacation. So I don't know. I'm taking it easy, guys. I'm just spending all that live read money, I suppose.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Bombas stocks.
You'll be in your Bombas, working on your Wix website as we answer. I guess our last question tonight is: will Lucca and KP ever win a ship together? Dave, I want to hear your smiling thoughts.
No.
Okay.
It's not going to happen.
Lucca and
gotta
KP.
believe
I
it.
don't know. Why not?
I just don't think it's
Could
going to happen.
happen.
Sure. Okay. Anything could happen,
Oh,
That's
sure.
right.
but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Okay. I don't know. I give it a legit shot. But then again, it's like I don't think that Simmons and Embiid will ever win a championship.
I agree.
So
Well, who has a better shot at winning a championship between the two of those duos, irrespective
Simmons
of
and
whatever they have around them? Okay.
Simmons and Embiid.
I would agree with that, even though I'm
Ooh,
Just
wow.
more. There's more
Fan
talent.
club.
There's more talent. Simmons and Embiid is more talent than Porzingis.
but it's
and
just
Doncic.
not the right fit, though. I just don't think
Agreed.
it's the right fit.
But
so it
is
doesn't matter.
Doncic and Porzingis a good fit? I don't know. We got to see it.
Well, if only someone had done a video on that and then broke it down.
The irony is if you swap KP and Embiid, I think you probably would have like the perfect pairings for each player.
Maybe.
Hey, maybe it'd be great if they did that trade.
Luca and Simmons? No, Luca and
Luca and Embiid, and then
Embiid.
Simmons with KP. If KP's stroke is truly back,
If he
I
can
think-
actually shoot it, right?
yeah, I think they complement each other much better.
Interesting. All right. Well, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, guys, Jared, Dave, thank you so much for coming on. Everybody in the live chat, awesome stuff, terrific things. Thank you for the super chats as well. And we will be back when we're back. We'll see what happens next week. But thank you again, everybody. And don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. Are you in Jared?
Dave, are you and Jared?
Oh,
The night is young.
all right, good. That's great. Well, we're all in then, and that is this. See you guys later. Thank you.